The coaching report's a pretty extensive, it's about a 22-page report, but it has lots of great information. And where I've seen it used most is in the coaching relationship, because you've gone through that first step with the workplace operations report, had the initial meeting. I would not send this to the individual as a first report, because there's just so much information there, you would literally paralyze them. There's just a lot of information, great information. It's really for your use, especially at the beginning. But you're doing the top level sort of review with the workplace operations report, and then you can really dig in with this coaching report. Great information here, and I've seen it used probably in an engagement when you're working with somebody over a long period of time. You wouldn't fast track them through this. But it has the 8 primary and the 24 sub-factors, identifies strengths and struggles, lots of questions. That's one of the things that the coaching report has versus the workplace operations report. Lots of great questions that are specific to that individual.
And that process we just walk through of, the starting questions to sort of get the discovery going versus then the more focused factor questions. In the coaching report at the back is actually a meeting agenda where we've already gone and put laid all those questions out for you. So if you are using a coaching report, a meeting agenda is there. And we're not saying you have to use the questions exactly the way we've got them there, but they're giving you some insights to get pinpointed. So it's actually we've actually done it for you there in the coaching report.
You'll recognize the one page. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that's something that that's why I stood up and wanted to emphasise that, because otherwise, we're telling you to do a process that just takes you a long time and then you get lost. Reality is that coaching report is littered with questions at every phase of it, and has a meeting agenda, at least the first meeting agenda at the back. And if you're doing, to Monique's point, if you want to use the report or the reports as your framework to do this process, the coaching report's a great one, and you've actually got 8 factors there and the related sub-factors that you could make the subject of coaching sessions. Okay, so you've given them an overview at the start, and then, okay, the next coaching, so for you as a more planned, anchored person, next coaching sessions will, let's look at the commanding factor. And then there are questions that relate to that. Get them to go away and reflect on that as their homework, and then you go through all of it. Well, now we've really unpacked at least 6 months worth of coaching.
Yeah, I just had a whole ton of anxiety run out of me because I was sitting here thinking I've got to figure out.
My job is to make you feel comfortable.
I appreciate that. I was thinking I need to be able to figure out how to create all these probing questions and how to tie it back in these reports. And I'm like, my anxiety level, I needed some medication, but that. But that's good to know.
So I think that's something that's really emphasising for us. The first meeting agenda is basically laid out at the back of the report. See where the clients go, what areas are they stuck on, and then you can go into the rest of the report and pick it out. And you could easily create, if I was coaching someone, I'd be creating at least 6 months worth of meetings out of just that report. Being a little creative and inventive. And I think that's for you, but that's where I was going with the process map yesterday. If you learn to take that and build that into the work you do, this will help provide that framework, and okay, we're going to do it this way. And now you might look at the report and say, no, I'll break this down into 3 meetings, but there's a lot of meat in there that makes this easy, and you do not need to become a behavioural scientist.
Yeah, great.
To do it, to Monique's point, just follow the framework.
Yes, got that. Okay. Yeah, Caitlin mentioned anxiety was one of her, and mine just went 6-fold over hers when I was watching that, and now I'm not. So good. Thank you.
Just to relieve additional anxiety, since you're a planner, you're going to want to plan it all. It's going to drive you nuts because you feel like you have to go in. But that's actually your plan B, because your plan A is what does the client need, and they're going to drive where you go. And that's, to me, what's peaceful in that, what reduces my anxiety is I'm going to have a backup plan, which is all these questions and places to go. If they don't come to the table with their agenda, but they're paying you. They have something to drive. They have something to get off their chest. If they're coming ready for engagement, really you don't have to feel as planned as you think, but you have a need to be planned, so you have a plan. The comfort is you have a plan, but it's going to be driven by your client.
And I would agree that I could see it starting out as, okay, you've seen your part of the report. Let's start there with how you felt or think about these things, and let that maybe dictate the direction of the initial discussion. But if it seems like it's not really gaining any traction, then what you call my plan B would be my plan A, and then I would be able to make sure that we did gain traction and move. So yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes.
Okay. You recognize this report, the one-page factor that we spent so much time on yesterday? It's included in the coaching report. Do a quick scan of that because it does help.
But you can draw that down as its own individual report. As you've seen, we've got it there. You can just have that. When I look at someone, that's what I look at. This is sort of my go-to place. But remember, I've had more experience than you. But that's what I will always look at that.
And I do too. That's my favorite report actually, because I can get a scan, sort of make some factor relationships there. The coaching report really is more of a step-by-step guide, but this is a great one, and it is included in the coaching report. Really just, we've talked about it because yesterday when you did get your time to talk about your strengths and your struggles, this is really just a plan layout of the debrief.
So just one way of, go back, Leon, just for a second, just one way of working with this, which is in the personal performance plan workbook, but it's just to, before your meeting, so particularly for you, Keith, before your meeting with someone, is read through their coaching report, thinking of the context. So what would be a relevant strength in the commanding factor for them and a struggle? Now, you could also give this to the client as homework. Now you've given them the overall behavioural awareness in the first meeting, and say, okay, in next meeting, we're going to go through the coaching report and focus on zeroing in on some specific areas, and I want you to complete this for the next meeting, and then they could go over the page and think up 5 questions that they want to discuss with you. Right? There's a lot of ways you can make this play out, but it does. What this does is, in a way, it's very concrete. It makes whether it's you as the coach or the participant, go back and use the report and read every word of it and what part of it jumps out for them. And they should definitely be able to fill that out for the stronger factors, because there should be something jumping out of it. Okay, if you're middle range on structured, maybe it's a bit, but for the other ones it would. That's why we have some of these slides here, because I think it's a good exercise just to make people read the report and absorb it.
Designing the meeting, powerful questions that you can lift right from the coaching report. For the more creative folks, they'll probably actually have a little bit of creativity there, but the intention is asking those powerful questions. So we have another engager, Helen Jones. I think we've got a comparison report a little later. Anybody see anything that stands out? Pretty outgoing, huh?
She talked her leg off a chair.
Do you think she would have joined you last night after you guys dropped off at the hotel? Fast-paced, spontaneous. Got a pretty content score there. Very creative. Any initial thoughts? Just if you're getting prepared to actually meet with Helen? Monique?
Put your timer on.
I think for the two of you, yes, you would. The initiators probably would be like, or some of them were planned.
I have a pre-call strategy to prepare for. I send out pre-call forms to the clients, and she would be someone that I would definitely want to have, so we can stick to that format, know what we have to cover as we go into it, that her mindset is already established, as well as mine, as to what our strategy is for that call. That's to your planning. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you almost have
So yeah. So we have a framework to work within. We know in 45 minutes, that's all we've got. This is what we need to cover, and so we can stay focused.
Yeah. Anything else? Any observations? Do you think Helen will come prepared for the next meeting? If she's not prompted? Reminders might be good.
If Monique is the coach, she will, but it wouldn't be the natural.
It wouldn't be natural for her.
What I do with each of them is go ahead and set up the Google Calendar invites with the links to the pre-call form. So mine already have them knowing because this is my profile. So I know for myself what I need to have. And if I have multiple clients, I need to be organized to manage them. So, and I need to be able to be prepared in information. I need to know what questions to ask based on what they're presenting in their form.
It's a mechanism for you to be structured, and for them, your instinctiveness as the coach can come inside the meeting with some boundaries. You can't totally lock down your instinctiveness either, otherwise it would ruin some of your gifts. But the structure really does, it helps.